So good morning, esteemed guests, visionary leaders in our midst, and innovators from all across the globe. Once again, we extend a very warm welcome to all of you to the 10th anniversary edition of the India Smart Utility Week, the international conference and exhibition on smart energy and smart mobility. We are now beginning with the inaugural session, ladies and gentlemen, of this 10th edition of the India Smart Utility Week. But before we do that, can we have a consolidated round of applause for all of you as we begin with a lot of energy today. Ladies and gentlemen, supporting this event, there are many pillars of change, all our partners, and with them we are set to drive the narrative for smart solutions for sustainable utilities. With such formidable support, India Smart Utility Week, or ISUW 2024, is poised to be a catalyst for change, a beacon of hope, and a testament to what we can achieve together. Now, on behalf of the entire team of ISGF, we extend to all of you a resounding welcome to this event once again that promises to be nothing less than extraordinary. And as we welcome you all to ISUW 2024, we are honored to have the support of India's esteemed ministries, all united towards one common goal: empowerment through sustainable development. Joining us in championing this cause is the Ministry of Power and the Central Electricity Authority, illuminating our path with groundbreaking policies for progress towards a greener power system. The Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, harnessing the winds of change, complement these efforts. We've got the vital support from the Ministry of Jal Shakti, reinforcing our commitment to water's pivotal role in our lives. The digital dreams are turned into reality with the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, scripting our tomorrow with bytes and pixels of possibilities. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Heavy Industry ensures that the engines of our industries and manufacturing roar with efficiency and innovation. And then, with the strategic insights of Niti Aayog, we are embodying a future that's meticulously planned and well thought out for the betterment and advancement of our nation. So we thank our supporting ministries for ISUW 2024. And ladies and gentlemen, we also have our partners. ISUW 2024 host utilities are Tata Power DDL, BSES Rajdhani Power Limited, BSES Yamuna Power Limited. ISUW 2024 co-host utility is Power Corporation Limited. Our platinum partners are SEW and GE Vernova. ISUW Gold partner Digital Energy Solutions. I'd like to thank our ISUW Welcome Reception partner Hitachi Energy. Our lanyard partner Trilliant. Innovation Awards partner, ladies and gentlemen, the ISUW 2024 ISGF Innovation Awards partner is NEDO. ISUW 2024 country partners, European Union, German Cooperation, USAID, India, Brazil, and we also have the Latin American Smart Grid and UK government. We thank our country partners. Our silver partners are Yitran, G3 Alliance, Oracle, Energy and Water, and Wyson Alliance. I'd like to extend my thank you to our bronze partners, Wirepass, Kimball, Itron, Applied, Cuculus, Autogrid. We also have Tech Uncorked and Trilectric. Thank you. Our knowledge partner, Standards and UL Standards and Engagement. Thank you to UL Standards and Engagement. Our ISUW 2024 ISGF Innovation Awards knowledge partner, UK Government. ISUW 2024 conference session partners, REC, our Maharatna company. We also have CDNC, CDAC, IntelliSmart, USAID, Department of Science and Technology, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, Ministry of Power, Government of India, and Indian Energy Exchange. May I also thank our conference session partners, PFC, IEC, IEEE, German Cooperation, European Union, Hitachi Energy, Go15, Asia Pacific Urban Energy Association, and CDRI. And our supporting organizations are Asia Pacific Urban Energy Association, Global Smart Energy Federation, SIGRE, Indo-German Energy Forum, ISGF, and we also have European Committee for Standardization, Senelec, ISGAN, India CGD Forum, ETSI, the Standards People, APUA, BOKI, PhD Chamber, we have the Central Board of Power, of Irrigation and Power and Natural Gas Society, and we'd also like to thank VJTI Mumbai. And ladies and gentlemen, those are all our supporting media partners. We thank them very much. Thank you to our media partners, and once again, a big thank you to all our participating utilities. Together, these prestigious entities join forces to propel us forward into a future replete with opportunities and growth, and with their guidance, ISUW 2024 stands as a testament to what collaborative vision and dedication can achieve. And ladies and gentlemen, the India Smart Grid Forum, since its genesis in 2011, has been a testament to unwavering dedication and a harbinger for the digitalization of utilities in India. ISGF's collective efforts serve as a fertile ground for nascent technologies and innovative solutions, embracing the likes of artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, blockchain, Web 3.0, and metaverse applications. ISGF's flagship event, the India Smart Utility Week, has evolved into a beacon for smart grids, electric mobility, and smart energy discourse worldwide. And I'd like to say, with a legacy of success and global attention, past conclaves have seen an assemblage of apex thinkers and leaders converging to share, deliberate, and ignite thoughts that shape our tomorrow. The 2023 chapter of this prestigious event was graced by the presence and insights of over 2,200 delegates and 264 speakers from more than 22 countries. Today, as we commence another milestone event, we stand united in the quest for a smarter, greener, and more mobile world. Ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to partake in this intellectual symphony, to lend your voice to the chorus that will echo through time and space, as together we redefine the contours of smart energy and smart mobility. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, as we now begin with the inaugural session, I'd like to say that amidst this era of ecological transformation, we stand at the forefront of an evolutionary leap. India's odyssey toward a luminous and sustainable future is illuminated by our ambitious net zero target set for the year 2070. We are thrilled to witness the electrifying arc of progress as electrification emerges as our chosen pathway to achieve decarbonization. So the wheels of change are in motion, with the Indian power sector blazing the trail to achieve net zero by the mid-century. Government of India, bolstered by an assemblage of progressive undertakings, has rolled out many seminal programs poised to redefine our energy and mobility landscape, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, may I once again say that we are about to unveil a narrative woven with the threads of technological marvels and pioneering initiatives. The tapestry you will witness is not merely a tale of progress. It is going to be a blueprint of our collective future, painted with the bold strokes of ingenuity by ISGF. So we have several thematic sessions, and we have bilateral workshops, we have special masterclasses, as well as workshops through the India Smart Utility Week 2024. Now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great anticipation and pride that I invite you to immerse yourself in the unfolding story of resilience and innovation. Please turn your attention to the screen as we commence this captivating voyage, a brief journey through the groundbreaking technologies and projects introduced by ISGF, which are destined to shape the resplendent future of India's power sector. So we're going to see this journey of ISGF over the last year, ladies and gentlemen, with an audio-visual. Let's take a look at the audio-visual. Welcome to the India Smart Grid Forum, where innovation meets sustainability. We invite you on a brief journey through groundbreaking technologies and projects that ISGF introduced in the country in the last year that will shape the future of India's power sector. Let's embark on this enriching exploration. Today, there are about 800,000 rooftop solar units connected to the distribution grid. The total capacity is about 12,000 megawatts, which generate over 40,000 megawatt hours of electricity every day. Since grid operators do not have the visibility of these distributed resources, this huge amount of energy injected into the grid is not being considered in the daily scheduling and dispatching operations. The proposed rooftop registry will provide clear visibility of the distributed generation resources connected to the medium voltage and low voltage grids, which will help manage daily power flows as well as help assessing the hosting capacity of the feeders. In January 2024, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched a revolutionary program to install solar rooftops on 1 crore or 10 million houses in the country on fast track. The proposed National Registry of Solar Rooftops will be a valuable tool that will revolutionize monitoring and scaling up of solar installations nationwide. The architecture of this registry will be similar to the Aadhaar and CoWIN registries. We intend to expand the registry to include all distributed energy resources such as solar, wind, battery storage, EV chargers, etc. Indian utilities are ascending into the skies with drone-based inspection and data analytics, a groundbreaking endeavor at Maharashtra State Electricity Distribution Company Limited, under the Aspire program of the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office, United Kingdom. ISGF, in collaboration with KPMG and with Rona UK, has undertaken the drone-based asset management services 22 kV feeders in Thane and Pune. This innovative approach ensures the reliability and longevity of critical infrastructure. Let us explore the technological marvels driving this transformation. ISGF has just launched another pilot demonstration of vehicle-to-grid technology, heralding a new era of sustainable transportation and dynamic energy management. The batteries of the electric vehicles connected to the grid can be leveraged as virtual power plants. When there is surplus electricity generation on the grid, that can be stored in the EV batteries. And when there is a shortage on the grid, the EVs can pump electricity back to the grid. With V2G capabilities, EVs will become active participants in the energy ecosystem, offering unprecedented flexibility and efficiency. EV owners can be incentivized to participate in the V2G program that will help scale up electric mobility. For this first-of-its-kind project in India, we are in technical collaboration with the University of Delaware, and our local utility partners are BSES Rajdhani, BSES Yamuna, Tata Power Delhi Distribution and KSEBL Kerala. We will soon witness the convergence of transportation and energy innovation. With ISGF's pioneering initiatives in Kolkata, the electric bus prices came down below 10 million rupees in 2019. Today, there are about 5,000 electric buses operating in different cities. Since charging infrastructure is lacking on the highways, the intercity operations of electric buses are limited, and there are no electric trucks on highways. ISGF, with support from Shakti Sustainable Energy Foundation, has undertaken the crucial initiative towards decarbonizing India's industrial corridors. We have conducted pilot demonstration of cargo transport on electric trucks on Delhi-Chandigarh and Delhi-Ludhiana routes and submitted the study findings and recommendations to unleash the tremendous potential of cargo movement on electric trucks on industrial corridors to reduce emissions and enhance efficiency. Let's delve into the logistical complexities and environmental benefits of this groundbreaking endeavor. ISGF conducted a pilot project involving 50 voluntary customers with a collective load of 22 megawatt for a time of use tariff under the regulatory sandbox approach. This project was run from September 2022 to August 2023. Through dynamic pricing mechanisms and consumer engagement strategies, these initiatives empower stakeholders to actively participate in the transition towards a sustainable energy future. Let's unravel the intricate dynamics of tariff design and its implications for renewable energy uptake. Kolkata City, where India's electrification journey and ISGF's electric mobility initiative started, has received support from the FAME program to deploy 1,180 electric buses. West Bengal Transport Corporation, WBTC, intends to house these 1,180 buses in 14 bus depots where charging infrastructure will be created. Each of these 14 bus depots would require 5 to 6 megawatt of new electricity connections, for which the utilities have to strengthen and then upstream grid infrastructure. ISGF, with support from CESC, L&T and Siemens, conducted detailed modelling studies to estimate the grid upgrades to provide megawatt-scale connections to bus depots. This is again a pioneering work by ISGF, and this study report is a guide for other transport companies and utilities to plan charging infrastructure for large deployments of electric bus fleets. During the year 2023-24, ISGF conducted the 7th edition of Distribution Utility Meet in collaboration with Kerala Electricity Board Limited and the Kerala Energy Department in Kochi on 2nd and 3rd November 2023. The event was attended by senior officials from 20+ states and 45+ distribution utilities in India. The 8th edition of Distribution Utility Meet will be held in collaboration with Uttar Pradesh Power Corporation Limited in Lucknow on 14th and 15th November 2024. ISGF conducted a 3-day training workshop on digitalization of utilities for performance improvement for sub-Saharan African utilities in Cape Town on 12th to 14th February 2024 under the SMAP program of the World Bank. This training workshop was attended by 77 senior utility officials from 34 countries in Africa. ISGF took a large delegation to Distribute Tech 2024 in Orlando, held on 27 to 29 February 2024. As in the previous years, ISGF conducted a US-India Smart Grid Roundtable on 28 February 2024 on the sidelines of Distribute Tech. The delegation also met with US Department of Energy, US Department of Commerce, and USAID and USTDA officials in Washington, D.C. As we continue to pioneer new frontiers and navigate the complexities of our evolving energy landscape, let us march forward with determination, knowing that our collective efforts today will shape the future of Indian power system. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, as we know now that the India Smart Utility Week promises to not only enlighten but also empower every stakeholder in attaining sustainable development. With that positive note, I'm going to once again welcome all of you to ISUW 2024, and I extend a warm welcome to our chief guest and our esteemed dignitaries, and I'm going to request them to please help us light the lamp and begin with the inaugural proceedings. So ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for our chief guest, Shri Ghanshyam Prasad, Chairman, Central Electricity Authority. May I invite you, sir, take the lead and begin with the lamp lighting ceremony. I'll invite our dignitaries, Shri Sudeep Jain, Additional Secretary, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Government of India. His Excellency Hervé Delphin, Ambassador of European Union to India. His Excellency Jan Theslev, Ambassador of Sweden to India, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Nepal, and Maldives. His Excellency Mr. Philip Ackermann, Ambassador of Germany to India. Shri Siva Gunda, Commissioner and Vice Chair, California Energy Commission. May I invite Shri Sandeep Zanzaria, MD and CEO, GETND India Limited. Shri Deepak Garg, Founder, Chairman and CEO, Smart Energy Water. Shri N. Venu, Managing Director and CEO, India and South Asia Region, Hitachi Energy. Mr. Richard Schomburg, IEC Ambassador on Smart Energy. May I invite Shri Reji Kumar Pillai, President, ISGF and Chairman, Global Smart Energy Federation, and Ms. Reena Suri, Executive Director, India Smart Grid Forum. Please do join us for the lighting of the lamp, ladies and gentlemen. In India, traditionally, we always begin with the lamp lighting ceremony. And so that is what we do now as we begin with the inaugural proceedings. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvighnam Kurme Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvighnam Kurme Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvighnam Kurme Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada.
चढ़ायो अच्छा गजमुख को, जोन दिल लाल विराजे सुत गौरी हर को। हाथ लिए गुड़ लड्डू साई सुरवर को, महिमा कहे न जाए लागत हूँ पद को। जय देव जय देव जय जय जी गणराज विद्या संदाता, धन्य तुम्हारो दर्शन मेरा।
And now we have a group photograph of all the dignitaries. Thank you for lighting the lamp. And right after this, ladies and gentlemen, we will invite the dignitaries to please take their place on the dais on stage. Thank you very much once again for doing the honors. A big round of applause for our chief guest and our dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. May I invite you to please take seats on the dais. Esteemed dignitaries, I'd like to request you, our chief guest, Shri Ghansham Prasad ji, Additional Secretary MNRE, Shri Sudeep Jain ji, may I invite you to please be seated on the dais. His Excellency Hervé Delphin, His Excellency Mr. Jan Theslev, His Excellency Mr. Philip Ackerman, Shri Siva Gunda, Mr. Sandeep Zanzaria, Mr. Deepak Garg, Mr. N. Venu, Mr. Richard Schomburg, Mr. Reji Kumar Pillai. I invite you to please take seats. Mr. Philip Ackerman is going to be joining us shortly, ladies and gentlemen. His Excellency, the Ambassador of Germany to India, is going to be joining us. He will be here at around 11. In the meantime, I extend a very hearty welcome to the esteemed dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, I now take the privilege of, we also have seated on the dais, Ms. Reena Suri, Executive Director, India Smart Grid Forum. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. With that, ladies and gentlemen, may I take the privilege of introducing and then inviting for the welcome address Mr. Reji Kumar Pillai, President, India Smart Grid Forum, and the Chairman of the Global Smart Energy Federation. Now, Mr. Pillai is the President of India Smart Grid Forum since its inception in 2011 and is also the Chairman of Global Smart Energy Federation, and he wouldn't let me read his bio, but it's on the screen for you to see. A big round of applause as we request him to deliver the welcome address.
Excellencies and dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries in the audience, delegates, speakers, friends, a very warm good morning to all of you. Indeed, Delhi has become warm. It's 30 degrees today. It gives me immense pleasure to address you, welcome you all to this 10th edition of India Smart Utility Week, of which 2 of them we had to do virtually thanks to COVID, but otherwise all 8 editions witnessed people from around the world. And very happy to welcome all of you to this 10th edition today in Delhi. Energy transition is an overused word, but we all are pursuing. Every country, more than 130 countries have set their net zero targets, starting from 2045 to 2070. India has set a net zero target of 2070. So the strategy which is globally being pursued, we yet don't know whether that is the real right strategy, is electrification. Electrify almost all human activities, including agriculture, transport, everything, and take the electricity sector for decarbonization. This is what everybody is doing. India is also doing. We are pursuing that. The latest study report says that about 2 billion machines which are run today on heat, meaning fossil fuels, will be electrified in the next 3 to 4 decades, and which require much higher electricity consumption. And as I said, the strategy which experts are proposing is overbuild renewables and build storage. That's a strategy which every country is following. It's expected that in next 4 decades, the electricity generation capacity will triple. It's about 8.5 to 9 terawatt capacity will triple to 25 to 30 in next 4 decades. And to evacuate that, we need to build transmission and distribution lines. About 80 million kilometers of new transmission and distribution lines we need to build in next 25 years for an investment of $21 trillion. Money may come, but building this, the current global grid is about 80-85 million kilometers. what we built in last 140 years, we need to build in next 25 years is a huge challenge and a huge business opportunity, employment opportunity. It's unfolding very fast. This year, about over 500 gigawatt of solar is expected to be installed globally. And these are numbers 10 years ago. If you say, nobody would have believed that we will be able to do 500 gigawatt of new generation capacity in 1 year. In this unfolding energy transition, India is doing very well, in fact, leading from the forefront. We are the only country, the leading economy, which has met the 2030 target of non-fossil fuel power generation 40% by 2022, 8 years ahead of the target agreed under Paris Agreement. And now we set a new target of 500 gigawatt of renewable energy by 2030. At independence, as many of you, the youngsters in the audience perhaps may not know, when British left, we had only 1.3 gigawatt of our 1,300 megawatt of electricity generation capacity for a population close to 400 million. Most of India lived in darkness, except some princely towns and industrial towns. But we have built third largest grid in the world, or power system in the world. Today it is that 1.3 has become 430 gigawatt of generation capacity today as we speak. It's an unprecedented growth of electricity system development anywhere in the globe in the last 100 years. We have also done very good, the modernization of the grid. The digitalization is going on very fast track. In fact, it's gaining momentum at an unprecedented level. 40 years ago, when I joined the workforce, there was still less than 40,000 megawatt of installed capacity in early 1980s. Today it is 430. We did 10x in 4 decades. Last 20 years, you take it, it's again, we doubled it in last 20 years. And the losses at the national level in 2022-23, when we came out with the term AT&C losses, aggregate transmission and commercial losses, it was about 36% in 20 years ago, which we brought it down to 16%. So nationally, and Delhi had a losses of above 55%. Today it's 6 to 7% in Delhi. These are all very, very unique things which we could achieve in the previous decade or so. And when you consider this 20% reduction in T&D losses nationally, it's a big number. The total electricity we produce or consume is about 1,500 terawatt hour, of which 20% we are saving, is amounting to tens of billions of dollars of investment savings every year. And there were different technologies which were deployed by utilities across the country under central government funded programs and also state government funded programs. And last 10 years with the ISGF, we've been from day one advocating for digitalization and many other new technologies. We've been able to bring several new technologies and pilot it here in different utilities in India, initially in Delhi, now in UP, in other parts of India. And some of the things which you have seen in the film we played are all futuristic and which will be actually made, rolled out in commercial scale in India. 2 years ago, we have done a peer-to-peer trading of solar rooftop energy on a blockchain platform. So that pilot project was done 2 years ago in Lucknow, which was replicated in Delhi in a larger scale, later in Calcutta in a much larger scale. Today there is already a regulation, perhaps world's first regulation for peer-to-peer trading of solar energy on blockchain platform, issued by UP Electricity Regulatory Commission last year. And as we speak, there are 2 states, Delhi and Karnataka, has issued draft regulations for public comments. So many of these initiatives we have been able to do because we've been doing this knowledge exchange. with the European Union, with the USA, with Germany, with Sweden. All these countries we have been doing bilateral smart grid workshops for the last several years, and also take delegations from India. As you have seen, recently we have taken a delegation to Distributech, which we've been doing for the last 10 years. We take delegations to Paris for SIGRE session, which happens bilateral and once in 2 years, and also to European Utility Week, which is now called Enlit Europe. All these big events which happens globally, we've been taking senior policymakers, regulators, and utility officials to these programs. And also for our program, we bring experts, real experts, those who have experience of executing all these new technologies with their own hands. We invite them, they come here and meet with our people. So these knowledge exchanges has really contributed to all these developments of new policies, new programs, new regulations, etc. I have the pleasure of one of our big supporters is Luciano Martini, who is the chair of International Smart Grid Action Network. He joined online. This year he couldn't come personally. He will be giving he has sent a recorded message which will be played after my welcome speech. And Mr. Richard Schomburg, who is a globally acclaimed expert on smart energy, been ambassador of IEC, is here. He been mentoring ISGF from the very first edition, and we connected us with all the experts around the world. Very warm welcome to you, sir. Thank you very much for your support. Similarly, from the very first edition, which we did in 2015 in Bangalore, we didn't have a venue in Delhi, so we did it in Bangalore. From very first edition itself, Mr. Venu, and those days it was ABB, now it is Hitachi Energy, been a constant supporter. A very warm welcome to you, and thank you for your constant support, sir. Deepak Garg, founder, chairman, and CEO of Smart Energy and Water, been also a member for ISGF. His colleague is a General Secretary, Marshall is our General Secretary currently in ISGF, and been part of most of our editions last 7 years. And a very warm welcome to you. You come from California. And moving on to our platinum sponsor this year, GE&T, Sandeep Sensaria, very warm welcome to you, and thank you very much for your support. This is the first time GE participating in ISUW. We hope you will continue to do that. We have a very big delegation from California, led by Mr. Shivagunda, Commissioner and Vice Chair of the California Energy Commission. We also have the privilege of President of California Public Utilities Commission, Alice Reynolds here, and the other commissioner from California Energy Commission, Andrew McAllister, is also here. So very warm welcome to you, Mr. Shivagunda, and your colleagues from California. His Excellency Ambassador of Germany will be joining in another few minutes. His Excellency Jan Dasself, Ambassador of Sweden, very warm welcome to you, sir. Your predecessors, two predecessors, been part of our program always. And before COVID, we used to do a Sweden-India Smart Energy Workshop in collaboration with Swedish Energy Agency and Business Sweden. So post-COVID, we have not revived that. With your support, we hope to revive that again. And EU Ambassador, from the very first edition always, European Union been a supporter of ISUW. We've been doing EU-India Smart Energy Workshops on the sidelines of ISUW, as well as in certain years, they've been hosting it in different cities in Europe. So thank you very much for this energy cooperation and support, and look forward to your blessings in the future. Mr. Sudeep Jain, Additional Secretary in MNRE, leading major revolutionary programs. You heard about me talking about 500 gigawatt renewable by 2030, and there's a green hydrogen mission. All this, Mr. Jain is leading it. A very warm welcome to you for coming for ISUW. Despite most of the bureaucrats are busy in election-related work, you have taken time and came. Thank you very much, sir. And a warm welcome to our Chief Guest of the day, Mr. Ganesham Prasad, Chairman of Central Electricity Authority. He has been a constant supporter of ISGF and all our activities, and a very warm welcome to you, sir. We had invited our minister, Mr. R.K. Singh. He is sick, so he couldn't. He 2 days ago requested invite the Minister of State, Mr. Koba. He couldn't come back to Delhi. He is outside Delhi. So we don't have a minister, but we are in good hands. We have very senior experts on the dais. We look forward to have a very good words from you in the inaugural session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for that endearing welcome address. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my privilege to introduce and then invite Mr. Richard Schomburg, IEC Ambassador for Smart Energy, the recipient of IEC 2011 Lord Kelvin Award. He designed multi-million euros complex systems for critical operations. He's also been a professor of system engineering at Supélec Paris, chair of the IntelliGrid Strategy Committee, and he's been a member of the Technology Advisory Board of Southern California, Edison Emeritus Edison, and also emeritus member of the UST of Gridwise Architecture Council. He has the responsibility of EDFR and activities in North America, strategic partnerships with scientific industrial players, sourcing and transferring innovations to EDF Group in Europe. And he's currently in charge of strategy and smart energy standardization activities, coordination across EDF. A very warm welcome to you, Mr. Schomburg, and we request you to please address all of us. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, as I invite him to the podium.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm Richard Schomburg, representing the President and the CEO of the International Electrotechnical Commission, IEC, the Standard Development Organization based in Geneva that is backed up by the World Trade Organization of the United Nations. Well, I think it's quite obvious with what Reggie presented. The world challenges have never been so high. The energy demand is still climbing steeply, while greenhouse gas emissions must be curbed as the effects of climate change are impacting unquestionably everyday life. But it is not just about energy. It's also the long-term sustainability of water, air quality, food that should be ensured universally. Also, we should not forget the citizens and customers that are having growing expectations of resiliency, lower cost, new services, cyber-secured, and also respecting privacy while possibly monetizing their personal data. India has major cards in hand. India is already the most populous country and the third largest country regarding energy consumption. India has been recognized as one of the fastest growing economies of the world by global institutions. As the UN Secretary General said, clean energy is the ticket to growth and prosperity. But it is no more just about clean energy. It is actually now about net zero energy. India stands number 4 globally in renewable energy installed capacity, including large hydro with several hundred gigawatt installed capacity, but the most important is the potential of India, the potential being 1,000 gigawatts. India can also count on something very important and dear to my heart, which is 22 nuclear reactors for resilient, CO2-free baseload generation. Also, a massive investment in transmission assets is really enabling embarking even much more renewable energy, connecting mega solar parks and wind power zone. And also I understand that energy storage capacity is considered along those incredible achievements and targets. The Prime Minister initiative of forming the International Solar Alliance to fulfill the mission of the One Sun, One World, One Grid, ISUW, is extremely commendable and a major step forward in ultimately achieving a world global energy interconnection. Also, India has still a huge capacity in energy efficiency, demand-side management, controllable loads, electric transportation that can bring a very substantial contribution. But this will still need a very, very large and strong smart meter deployment to enable these capabilities. The energy choices that India considers will not only have a direct bearing on its growing population, but will also, in interconnected ways, impact and affect the global energy market, carbon emissions, and the flow of technology and capital. Technology is blazing forward, right? It is quite obvious. But the complexity that comes with it is rising very steeply. And standardization is more than ever a master key to take up the challenge. And IEC is fully committed to deliver an enabling portfolio of technical standards for all your goals, endeavor, and future achievements. As a conclusion, all of this gives a huge relevance and value to this number 10 edition of India Smart Utility Week. For the digital revolution, I like to say that India is already the software factory of the world. And for energy, the ISGF is a very powerful public-private asset recognized worldwide, one of the first to join the World Global Smart Energy Federation. And also, we need to acknowledge that ISGF is delivering very relevant publications and is organizing very effective connecting events. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, sir, for your address. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that, as we thank Mr. Schomburg for setting the context for ISUW 2024, it is now my privilege to invite the Additional Secretary of the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Government of India, Shri Sudeep Jain, and he's been designated as Additional Secretary MNRE. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a 1994 batch IS officer of Tamil Nadu cadre. We are indeed very privileged to have your presence in our midst, sir, and we invite you to please address us. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome him to the podium with a big round of applause.
Excellencies, colleague speakers on the dais, Mr. Pillai and the team from India Smart Grid Forum, ladies and gentlemen, A very good morning to all of you. Mr. Pillai, in his welcome remarks, has mentioned about the progress world as a whole and India in particular has been making with respect to the energy transition. As he said, that everything is moving towards being run on electricity, and this electricity is being transitioned to green energy, to renewable energy. He also mentioned about our trajectory where we are targeting to reach 500 gigawatt in renewable energy by 2030, and the speed with which this transition is happening, the growth which we are witnessing, can be seen from the fact that we have already surpassed 180 gigawatt in renewable energy against 240 odd gigawatt that we have in thermal capacity. And we have more than 155 gigawatt of renewable energy projects in the pipeline and a clear trajectory of 50 gigawatt to be tendered out on an annual basis. So with this kind of a growth, we are very confident to reach the target of 500 gigawatt by the year 2030. As he also mentioned that our 2022 targets we had surpassed much earlier. We today have 44% of installed capacity in terms of renewables, and the target of 50% installed capacity in renewable energy, which has been set for 2030, we will surely surpass at least 3 years before 2030 itself. In fact, by 2030, we expect to cross 65% installed capacity in renewable energy. Apart from the growth that we are witnessing in utility scale solar and in wind, with which we had traditionally started in the renewable energy sector, we are also now at the threshold of opening up for offshore wind at Tamil Nadu and Gujarat. We have an estimated capacity of 70 gigawatt in offshore wind, and we'll soon be starting that program. On another front, on the green hydrogen side, we have already started with a very large production-linked incentive program. Our first tranche of tenders had already been called and orders have been issued. There is a $2.5 billion program which is being funded for production-linked incentives for green hydrogen. So that opens up completely different level of opportunity and complexity in the pursuit towards our target of net zero. As you all know, India is fourth largest in terms of renewable energy capacity in the world, fourth largest also in wind, and it will soon be becoming fourth largest in solar too. In rooftop, we had a little slow progress till now, but with Honorable PM's focus towards rooftop program and with a program for installing 10 million rooftops, solar rooftops over next couple of years, we'll definitely be the largest in terms of rooftops in the world. I was very happy to see the work which has been done by ISGF and the projects that have been undertaken, the pilots which have been taken up. I was excited to see the rooftop registry that has been proposed. Let me share with you for the PM Suryaghar rooftop program, the smart portal that we already have and which is being added with new features every day, it's a one-stop shop for not just for submitting the subsidy applications, it is also for applying for all approvals, for the connections for rooftops, for discovering rated vendors who can come and install, for applying for loan. So it's a one-stop shop for everything under this smart portal. Incidentally, today if you are a resident of, let's say, Bangalore, and you at your home open up and apply through the PM Suryaghar mobile app, it will take you directly to your roof. The data of all the roofs in Bangalore through a drone survey has already been connected to it. It will show you what is your consumption of last 1 year of energy through your DISCOM data. It will show you what should be the right capacity for your rooftop. And also it will show you the shade-free area on your rooftop and where exactly on your roof you should place your rooftop. All that is seamlessly shown through the app. And the generation data also in future we'll be integrating with this portal for all the rooftops. The entire generation data would be available. We are in the process of exploring mandating a 5-year prepaid SIM to be built in all inverters which are to be used for the rooftops, so that we have this complete data available on open source on the rooftop portal, not only for the utilities to use it for their planning purposes, but also for researchers to utilize this data and work on it. So with these kinds of programs and the speed with which the renewable energy sector is growing, unless the grid becomes really smart, and it's a day-to-day challenge to absorb this kind of renewable energy in the grid, we'll have to think of innovative ways, innovations, technologies, new technologies on a daily basis. And that is where we see people like you, the programs like this, conferences like this, where we can together brainstorm, come up with new ideas and new technologies, and take it as a challenge which we definitely will overcome, and will take it in the direction of Honorable PM's vision of one sun, one world, and one grid. Thank you so much.
Before you go, sir, we need to thank you with a small token of our appreciation. So I'm going to request for that token to please brought on stage, and I'd request Mr. Pillai to please present and do the honors. Thank you very much to Shri Sudeep Jain, Additional Secretary, MNRE. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you once again, sir, for your time. And thank you very much for your enlightening address. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin with our next address. And for that, I'd like to take the privilege of introducing and thereafter inviting Shri N. Venu, who is the Managing Director and CEO, India and South Asia region of Hitachi Energy. He's been the Managing Director in India since December 2019 and head of the South Asia region since January of 2016. He joined Hitachi Energy's predecessor in 1995 and accumulated over 25 years of experience across business units in the company. And ladies and gentlemen, he's also an active champion of industries in Karnataka as a member of CIS Karnataka State Council, a member of the global executive team. He's shaping the way Hitachi Energy advances a sustainable energy future for all, whilst balancing social, environmental, and economic value. A big round of applause as I welcome Shri N. Venu to the podium. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for a nice introduction. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, His Excellencies, and my co-speakers on the dais. And I've been watching the last 10 years audio visuals shown in the beginning. what is important is that there are many things have changed. Even I see my 10 years back picture, I have added a lot of gray hair now, That clearly shows a lot of water has flown in the last 10 years in every part of our ecosystems in that. And 10 years back, we were not talking much about energy transition. We were talking about how do we ensure that, the grids are more smart. But today, especially after the COVID, and the energy transition has really become the most important strategic pillars of every part of the thing, whether it is a country if you take, whether you take any organization, this has become a bedrock of our strategy in that. So it's a good to be back. Thank you, Raji, and your team has really, driving this organization, and we are not missed from the last 10 years since inception to now. In a different avatars, we have been very actively associating with India Smart Grid Forum, India Smart Utilities Forum, because we strongly believe that these are the forums will bring all the like-minded parties, all the various experts around the world to a table and have a discussions, and then we can talk about a lot of actions out of that in that. So similarly, how this has evolved, we have also seen under different names. Our company will talk about us, whether it is Hindustan Electrics, through HBB, ABB, and now Hitachi Energy. We have evolved and driving, the energy transition is a big way in India. And today, as we speak, we're going to celebrate 75 years in India. The 75 years is a long time, and we have been very successfully navigating this thing and partnering with in India's growth part. Thank you very much for our customers, our partners, and in this journey in that. So it's been a matter of pride also for me to be part of this journey, as India reported the fastest expansion of access anywhere in the world in the history of power in the just last decade. And as you can see here, our growth of energy has been phenomenal, and then all of our authorities, whether it is MOP, MNRE, and CEA, they've been really working hard to ensure that we're going to match up this growth momentum in terms of our planning, etc. in that. So extremely well done by all of our stakeholders, and this is where we really need to show how India can become one of the leading player in the energy space in that. So the next step is definitely to ensure that the power is carbon neutral, and the urgent need of energy transition has been felt, and how do we ensure that this energy transition is democratized throughout our country. What is accessible in the cities is also accessible in the Tier 1, Tier 2 cities, and also rural areas at a scale and the speed, and also affordability is extremely important for a country like us. We need technologies, but we also need the technologies are affordable to be able to deploy at a scale and the speed in that. So last year has been one of the most important year globally. And the pace of renewable addition has picked up exponentially in that. And the global annual renewable capacity addition increased to almost 50%, nearly 510 gigawatt in 2023 alone. And solar has contributed a huge in this, and the fastest growth rate in the past 2 decades. And in India, if you take about us, we are talking about the 10 years of ISUW, India Smart Utility Forum. In the last 10 years, India has added almost 30 times increase the solar power from an installed capacity of 2.6 gigawatt to 74.4 gigawatts. Again, it's a well done. It calls for a round of applause to all of us and everybody who's involved in the policy making in terms of our customers and our technology providers. Everybody has played a huge amount of role in that. So by 2050, the global power system would need 4 times more power generation capacity and need to transmit 3 times as much more energy as needed in that. So electricity will be the backbone of the entire energy system, and you really look at our future power system, it shall be capable of integrating any amount of resources, whether it is a solar or wind from anywhere in the country. That's one part of it, that we are able to dispatch whatever we generate in every corner of the country. And the second one, the power system should be capable of electrifying anything and everything, because whatever we produce the green power, we need to ensure that we have to use it to the right purpose, whether it's the transportation of electrical vehicle, transportation of the industrial heating cycle, everything needs to come from the renewable energy, and that is how the power system needs to be designed in that. Managing a residual load or a net load is becoming increasingly important because it's characterized by increasingly fast ramping up or rate of change on the grid. The future power system will also need to adapt quickly to any operational change. The flexibility is a fundamental thing in the future power system. While when we are talking about the energy transition, a lot of things has been talking about the generation, and right way so, we need to add that first, but then we need to also equally talk about our grids and how we are ensuring that the grids are also flexible, robust, and secure to take care of these kind of challenges in that. So whether we think that there are 4 dimensions most crucial to dealing with the growing variability and uncertainty that future carbon neutral energy system brings. That is, the first one is the supply side flexibility, second one is the demand side flexibility, and the energy storage and active transmission and distribution grids. So as I said, a lot of things are happening on the capacity standpoint, but I think we need to also focus equally on the rest of the things, and I'm very happy in that the CEA has come out with their transmission plan up to 2030 that gives a very clear roadmap that how these transmission grids need to be acting on that and that. So we also, as I said, that we need to start shifting our mindset. Of course, the generation is extremely important, but think not only on the power but also on the grids that ensure delivery of the same, that ensure the dispatch of what we produce in every part of the things in that. So if you really look at in the whole power system of the future, the 3 things comes to my mind. The first one is the sustainable products and systems, because in the carbon neutral era, we cannot have a product which is not sustainable. Sustainable in terms of the technology, in terms of the gases what you use, sustainability in terms of losses, sustainability in terms of the footprint, etc. All those things need to be looked into. Every component going into the grid now need to be future proof. The second one is second bucket is also extremely important. The power electronics is becoming a center of it. Okay, because you talk about our HVDC technology, which is used for transmitting of the long distance of the power or integrating the bulk renewable, the power electronics is embedded in that. Same is the case managing the power quality. The STATCOMs or power quality has power electronics in that. Talk about the electrical vehicles, it has the power electronics built into it. And talk about the charging equipment, it has the power electronics built into that, because it has the flexibility to both control and navigate in a very, very easy manner in that. And the third one is to manage the complexity of the challenges faced by the intermittencies bringing the renewable, and also the consumption patterns are changing, and the whole system need to be digitalized, right from the generation, transmission, and distribution. One need to have the transparency of the flow of electron close to the real time, and if you are able to do that, the planners, whether they are right from the planners or the equipment manufacturer, technology providers, and utility things, and grid operators, they are able to navigate these challenges, because the grid is very complex. There are several feed-in points, even more number of takeoff points, and with this kind of complexity, managing the grid to real time is extremely important. So these are the 3 things are really coming to my mind in the power systems of the future, in the energy transition, how they are evolving in that. I look forward to deep diving into some of these aspects over the course of this forum in the next 2-3 days. I'm very happy that India Smart Grid Forum, like these forums, will bring all the stakeholders, all the technology providers, and the policy and the regulators in the same forums to discuss about the same challenges and look at some of the good examples being used in around the world, and how do we bring those things to our country. And also some of our examples are really global benchmarks today, and then we can also give a kind of a pave way for those kind of technologies to go not only in India and around the world in that. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really looking forward to the deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for that insightful address. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I now have the privilege of introducing and then inviting Shri Deepak Garg, the founder, chairman, and CEO of Smart Energy Water. And he has over 2 decades of experience in product development and is responsible for the innovation, vision, strategy, and leadership at ISUW. He has successfully established high-powered technology teams to develop the world's leading digital customer experience, a digital workforce experience, smart AI, ML analytics platform that address key business challenges for energy, water, and gas providers. And before ISUW, he held senior executive positions with Fortune 500 companies and successfully developed direct and indirect business solutions for diverse markets. Let's welcome him to the podium with a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Shri Deepak Garg, founder, chairman, CEO of Smart Energy Water. Very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, Riji, for giving me the opportunity. Thank you, everybody, friends, and all the intelligent people on the panel. I feel kind of a little bit shaked up, a lot of knowledge out there, and all the people out there too, all of us, I think, need to feel very fortunate we are part of this industry. And I think everybody will be talking and are talking about the generation and transmission, which is very, very important. We need to really think about how we're going to address the net zero with all the renewables. We are integrating winds and everything. But as ISUW, I think and our belief was 10 years back, and now this belief is more and more important today, is as we are talking about a generation, as we talk about the capacity, as we talk about the net zero, we need to talk about the billions of people who are using every day this power and water. If they are not part of the ecosystem, if they are not intelligent, what we do? And this is what we feel the core of the core today. When we talk about energy transition, the billions of people have to be the part of the system. When we talk about those billions of people, how we engage them, how we empower them, how we educate them, that can only happen today's technology, what we have. We talk about cloud, we talk about AI, we talk about mobility. We have to make sure if Amazon can do it, Uber can do it, why our utilities cannot do it. And we are able to achieve that as a company working with this industry, with the regulators. Doesn't matter if we're talking about the US, we're talking about India or Asia or Middle East and all. Today we are in 48 countries. We are we're touching billions of people. It was only possible because the industry understood that we need to make the people as a part of the ecosystem. Because if the people become intelligent about using the power, because ultimately they are going to be the people, they are the actual user who will use just when you said the electron, they're going to be using that electron. And if that electron is green or not green, that the choice is going to be with the customer. And if the customer is going to create the load, doesn't matter what the good stuff we do, what we are all trying to do, it will eventually create the grid management issues, and that will collapse all the hard work we are all doing. So for me, that today, when we are sitting here in 2024, I know that we are talking about all the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years plan, and we have all these strategy to execute and achieve. I think the most important thing is what we were thinking. We have 10 years, 5 years to address the energy crisis or the challenge in front of us. The time is running out. I feel being sitting, and doesn't matter which part of the world we definitely, I can talk from US point of view, we are actually having a grid pretty much really getting the big stress right now, because this is the first time in the history, in the century, I should not say, in the last 10 years, there is a century, the demand side and the supply side both are shaked up. And I think all of us are math students, we know that if it is a one variable equation, it's difficult. When you have a two variable equation, it's a very, very complex to solve. And today, when we see the EV penetration, and I think we all can see the data, we predicted in 2010, it's going to be, I think, guys, if it's a public data, we predicted sitting in the, in doesn't matter which part of the world, we were predicting it's going to be only 2,500 EVs in 2020, and then in 2015, we have a 3 million, and 2020 actually, sorry, in 2020 we have a 3 million, and 2030 we are predicting 75 million EVs, and EV is not about only cars, the fleet to the four-wheelers to three-wheelers, from where we are going to get those electrons for those EVs, how we're going to manage the grid, how we're going to be working, to ensure that those distribution transformers, which has never been planned to work, to take that load, how they're going to be doing that. The only thing what we all can do it, to plug in for good reasons, the people and make them intelligent by providing the digital technology. So I feel from my point of view, as everybody is working towards the very, very big issue from transmission, distribution, and making the renewables as a part of the system, we as a team, we as a company, and we are asking all and I have to say that all the state, federal government in US or India or every other country we are working, they're working with us to how to make these billions of people who are the energy consumer or the water consumer intelligent to connect the real time and have the information so that they can take the real time decisions when the grid is getting very loaded about this, and if we are giving them the choice to use green or the more greener technology, And I just want to say, guys, thank you, and please come to our, please, I'm not trying to put a sales pitch for this, but please come to our booth and understand that how we are able to do it, and we want to be just sharing the knowledge to the industry, and I really feel very proud that I'm the part of this, and our team is part of this industry, and we will going to be continue. A lot of people ask me, Deepak, what is exit plan? I said, we didn't enter in this game for exit, because this is a very complex problem. We're going to keep solving. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful address. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to play from ISUW. All right. Thank you so much. So that was ISUW, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, now it is my privilege to introduce and invite Shri Sandeep Zanzaria, the MD and CEO of GET&D India Limited. He comes armed with more than 30 years of experience as a business leader in power transmission and distribution sector. And the exciting journey started with the Rihan HVDC project site and eventually continued in various organizations and functions of project management, engineering, tendering, operations, commercial, sales and P&L management. And his strengths are customer relationship, key account management, strategy and marketing, working in cross-cultural environment. Presently, he is also elected on the National Executive Council of IEEMA, Indian Electrical and Electronics Manufacturers Association. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Let's welcome him with a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, Shri Sandeep Zanzaria. Welcome, sir.
So thank you, and dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. So at first I would like to express my sincere thanks and appreciation to Reggie and team, the ISGF, and I think it's the 10th edition, so there's something very strong and very credible which has been built. So looking into the hall and the dignitaries on the dais, and we are very glad to be present and being a part of that. So what we are witnessing today in this time is a very pivotal moment in the history of energy domain. The challenges and the dynamics are pretty similar, or I would say more complex than when it was the initial infrastructure and technology was built. One of the most pressing challenges what we face is need to transition to sustainable energy sources, mitigating the climate changes and journey to net zero grids, while ensuring the energy security and the reliability and accessibility to all. Today, we all are change makers. So whether we are working in whatever functions, whether it could be an engineering or it could be a sourcing or it could be even a management level, we are all change makers today. And whatever actions what we are taking today are definitely going to impact the future generations and to help build a more sustainable society in future. When we talk about power of transformation specifically, transforming the Indian electric grid, it is to accelerate the energy transition towards cleaner grids. India stands today at the forefront of the global movement poised to lead the change towards a sustainable and resilient energy future. The signs are all around us when we look at extreme weather events, rising sea level, diminishing natural resources. Every challenge with it comes an opportunity. an opportunity to innovate and to make a change. Today, the main need is to harness the power of renewable energy sources and bring out more efficient ways to transmit and distribute the energy via cleaner grids. As my previous speaker said, why India? So, and in India, we are blessed with so many positives like an abundant sunlight, wind, water resources, other natural resources as well are there like coal, etc., which continue to be tapped on. But by investing in the renewable energy infrastructure, we are not only reducing carbon footprint, but also creating an immense avenue for economic growth and job creation. I think when we look at today at any Indian power sector companies, whether it is the developers, generators, EPCs, OEMs, everybody is going through a transformation in terms of the economic activities and also in terms of job creations which we are doing in the industry across the country. So when we look at India, it's basically fourth positioned overall as far as the renewable energy is considered. We are one of the fastest growing when we look at the renewable energy additions in last 10 years. More than $100 billion have been put into the system, and we are all proud. And also the innovative policy interventions like ISTS waiver, etc., has helped the sector to a great extent. I would also say that bold leadership and unwavering commitment from all stakeholders, like the government, the regulators, entrepreneurs, industry, academia, civil society, everybody is driving this transformation forward. However, the transition towards renewable energy is not without its challenges. So the traditional grids were built with one source of generation and then the load on one side. But now as more and more complexity is getting added, we are looking towards a grid which is more decentralized, diversified. So the grid also needs to evolve to accommodate these changes. We must reimagine a grid which is as dynamic, flexible, and creates a resilient ecosystem. That's the concept of smart grid, what we understand today. A smart grid has the capacity to leverage advanced technologies such as IoT, AI, blockchain, to enable real-time communication and control across the entire value chain. It needs to have the capability to balance between variable energy resources and conventional generation resources. It also needs to have the integration of energy, renewable energy sources, energy storage systems, demand-side management, grid-optimized power flow, enhanced grid stability, and also empower the customer to choose on the source of energy. The GE Vernova has multiple products on this domain, like we look at wind turbines onshore, offshore, hydro, gas, nuclear, digital solutions, grid solutions. So from this portfolio, I think one of the products what we are presenting in our booth as well, and I would like to put is Grid OS. It's a digital product. Grid OS is basically a grid orchestration software suite. The question on everybody's mind could be that we have been leaders in the software business, and what's so new about grid orchestration? So if I look at our presence in the country on the digital space, it has been immense. We have built the National Control Center, the regional control centers, renewable control centers, energy management systems, ADMS. So what's this Grid OS about? And when I look at the implementations, what we have done, we also deployed the largest WAMS, wide area monitoring system, after the 2012 blackout for stabilizing the grid. The NTMC center, which has been built, which remotely controls the unmanned 200 plus substations of 765 kV and 400 kV. Also, the GE software are mitigating the sustainability channels from Rajasthan, where 40% plus renewable energy is implemented through its smart transmission system. And of course, on the distribution side, we have a number of examples of this. So when we talk about Grid OS, it will revolutionize the way OT softwares are deployed and managed. It will bridge the gap between IT and OT and eliminate the need of big upgrade cycles in every 7 to 10 years. So today when we look at whatever projects have been implemented, every 10 years you need to go for a total upgrade. It is going to eliminate. You just subscribe, like you have an Apple phone, you subscribe, automatically the upgrades will be coming. And after 7 years also, you will find the software which has been implemented at the latest. So you don't need to go for tenders and upgrades and things like that. It's based on zero trust activation with high-speed integrated engine enabled data fabric. It helps in effective utilization of common data with various grid software applications and removing the inefficiencies of siloed application architecture. It's hosted on cloud, so the scalability and agility with third-party applications are inherently enabled. Today, most of the global utilities have started working with GE on the implementation of Grid OS in their system. This is also an answer, so what Mr. Sudeep Jain said, this is also an answer to address the big ambitious mantra of the Government of India of one sun, one world, one grid, to manage the renewable energies and distributed energy resources, and also to meet the India's net zero carbon goal by 2070. So I would request you to spend some time, and whatever are your challenges or whatever are your needs, I'm sure as G we will be able to address those challenges. And in a lot of sessions our team members are present. So please interact, feel free to interact with them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for the wonderful insights. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my privilege to introduce and invite His Excellency, the Ambassador of Germany to India, Dr. Philipp Ackermann. He studied art and economics in Heidelberg and received his doctorate in art history in 1993. That same year, he joined German Foreign Service, ladies and gentlemen. His overseas postings include Morocco, New York, also a larger version of ambassador. All right, okay, that. I'd like to say that Mr. Ackermann presented his credentials to Draupadi Murmu, President of India, on August 22nd, 2022. From 2006 to 2007, he headed the German Provincial Reconstruction Team in Kunduz, Afghanistan. Between 2007-2010, he served as a political counselor in New Delhi. He was deputy head of mission in Washington, D.C. In Berlin, he worked between 2002 to 2006 in the offices of federal foreign ministers, Mr. Fischer and Frank Walter. And from 2010 to 2014, he held the position as head of Task Force Afghanistan, Pakistan at the Federal Foreign Office and as Deputy Special Representative for Afghanistan and Pakistan. And ladies and gentlemen, before being assigned to his current role, he was Director General for Africa, Latin America, Near and Middle East at the Federal Foreign Office for 5 years. We extend a very warm welcome to you, sir, and invite you to please address all of us. A big round of applause as we welcome His Excellency, Mr. Philipp Ackermann.
Thank you very much. I think this is the quickest somebody ever read my CV loud. Can I say it's an enormous honor and pleasure to be here today. Germany is a partner country of this very, very interesting event, and I'm very happy about that. The International Conference and Exhibition on Smart Energy and Smart Mobility is kind of something that is in our DNA also, and therefore I think it's very appropriate that we are here, and I'm very, as I said, happy and proud about it. India and Germany look back on a long-standing and productive cooperation in and on energy. In 1867, Siemens began laying the world's first undersea cable for electrical communication from London to Kolkata. Since Indian independence, German companies like Bosch and Siemens started operating their own make-in-India factories, guaranteeing thousands and thousands of jobs in the Indian power sector. And by now, I can tell you that many, many also smaller and medium-sized enterprises in the energy sector have come to India and work in India with Indians on renewable technologies like wind, but also on biomass and pyrolysis. So since 2 decades, both our countries cooperate under the Indo-German Energy Forum, where we share best practice solutions in the field of energy and energy transition. And on the occasion of the last biannual Indo-German intergovernmental consultations in May 2022, both of our governments agreed and embarked on a green and sustainable development partnership. On the same occasion, also, both our countries have agreed to cooperate closer on the topic of green hydrogen, with a special Indo-German Green Hydrogen Task Force being well established by now. The upscale of the global hydrogen economy is important to us, not least because Germany aims to become completely climate neutral by 2045 latest. This includes transport, agriculture, industry and all other sectors with huge electrification and green hydrogen requirements. Wherever possible, direct electrification from renewable energies has priority over transformation of RE to green hydrogen. So studies under the Indo-German Energy Forum show that India can decarbonize more than 90% of its economy through electrification only. And this is also why both our countries aim to triple the speed of renewable energy capacity additions. So, no doubt, the role of the electricity and energy sector is only becoming more and more important in the future. So in Germany, we have now more than 50% of the entire electricity demand coming out of renewable sources. Around 50% of all solar panels in Germany are installed on the roofs of houses and commercial buildings, and 24% of all new passenger vehicles sold in Germany in 2023 came with a battery and a plug for charging. Battery storage, by the way, is certainly key for the energy transition, and I am delighted that both our countries have officially agreed to cooperate on the topic of storage. Several pilot projects will be installed under the leadership of the MNRE. So German industry can provide a wide range of technical solutions to support Indian utilities, and I would encourage everyone to visit our German exhibitors in this fair, Cuculus and Phoenix Contact, here at today's conference on the fair. Get in touch with our Indo-German Energy Forum, Indo-German Chamber of Commerce and GIZ, and form part of joint activities which shall strengthen our cooperation, leading to win-wins for both our countries. So I'd like to draw your attention at the end to at least 3 more important events for our bilateral cooperation in the renewable energies in 2024. Germany is very much looking forward to partner with the next RE Invest, high-level investment conference of the Indian government. In the first week of October, we will again have a German pavilion at the largest renewable energy trade fair of India, the REI Expo 2024. And as a highlight, the Asia-Pacific Conference of the German Business 2024 will take place in India this year, in New Delhi actually, in October, where many, if not most, of the German top business representatives and leaders will come and discuss with the Indians and others on German business in Asia. So I conclude by wishing you all a successful and informative Smart Utility Week 2024, and look forward to further increasing Indo-German cooperation in this matter as well. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I request you to please take center stage as we now have to thank you with a small token of our appreciation. We thank you very much for that kind address and your presence here. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Can we do a big round of applause once again for His Excellency Mr. Philipp Ackermann, Ambassador of Germany to India. Thank you very much once again for gracing this occasion with your presence. And with that, now, as I go on to invite our next dignitary, ladies and gentlemen, let me take the privilege of introducing him to you. We have with us Mr. Siva Gunda, Commissioner, California Energy Commission, and he's serving his first term on the California Energy Commission. I've already introduced. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to continue introducing you. Mr. Gunda, I request you to please take your seat. We have that video ready now, the one that I was going to play earlier. So I'm going to invite Mr. Deepak Garg to introduce that video very briefly. If you would like to say a few words about what that video entails, sir, and then we play that video and then go on to the next speaker.
Sorry guys, I thought it was already in plan, but didn't see that team is going to be. So as we said that as part of our growth, We put it a lot of, definitely a lot of investment globally, but we pretty much put this next 10 years a big investment to put a new ISUW Energy Tech AI Hub, and we'll be opening that on 19th. And we know that this is a new India, new Bharat, initiative as a part of our team, which is going to be, we're going to have 3,000 AI, energy and tech focused engineering team building our platform and helping with our partners. So I will have that video play. Thank you.
Bharat, land of billion possibilities, land of people, purpose, and passion. The new Bharat is filled with vision and hope. For the new Bharat, we present ISUW Global Energy Tech AI and Innovation Hub to transform energy, water, e-mobility, to transform people and AI, to transform Bharat. We at ISUW celebrate the Udbhav of people and passion. We celebrate the grand opening of our AI Innovation Hub, the new Center for Product Engineering and Innovation, driving the next wave of technological advancements in energy management, water conservation, and e-mobility, a catalyst to driving growth. We are ready to transform the world for a sustainable future with AI platforms.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you very much, sir. And now I have the privilege to reintroduce I'd request Mr. Gunda to please hear this because I have a lot about him to say. He's the Commissioner of California Energy Commission, serving his first term on the California Energy Commission. Governor Gavin Newsom appointed him in February 2021 to serve as the Energy Commission's public member, and he was later appointed to Vice Chair in September 2021. He's the lead Commissioner on Energy Assessments, and he's also served as Manager of the Demand Analysis Office and Deputy Director for the Energy Commission's Energy Assessments Division. And ladies and gentlemen, we are so privileged to have him in our midst. I'd request him now to please join us at the podium and address all of us. Let's welcome him with a big round of applause, Mr. Siva Gunda, Commissioner, California Energy Commission.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. I want to begin by just extending my deepest gratitude to Reggie, sir, and Rina, madam, for having California be a part of this wonderful discussion here. I also want to extend my gratitude to the dignitaries on the dais here and many honorable members here present, and those of you who are both friends and colleagues in the front lines trying to move the energy transition both in India and globally. I also want to recognize that I'm here on behalf of the state of California, along with a couple of my colleagues who are already mentioned, but I just want to acknowledge President Alice Reynolds from the California Public Utilities Commission, who is here amongst us, and also Commissioner Andrew McAllister from the California Energy Commission. So we have been here for almost a week now, some of us, and we're going to be here for another week. Sincerely, with the ambition of developing both subnational relationships as well as central government relationships for coordination on our climate vision. So as the introduction goes, I was appointed by Governor Gavin Newsom. I grew up here in India, in South India, and it's always an incredible joy to come back home and be a part of the conversations here. In the words of Governor Gavin Newsom, if we want to go fast, we go alone, and if we want to go far, we go together. And that's the spirit with which we are here, to share the challenge of the global climate change. How do we take this monumental challenge and work together to foster solutions across the globe? California, as most of you know here, is one of 50 states in the United States. We are about 40 million people and responsible for over 1% of the global emissions. So California, both with being the 5th largest economy in the world and also be responsible for over 1% of greenhouse gas emissions, really has the resources and feels the responsibility to lead the discussion on climate change and foster solutions here. As we talk about California, when we talk about 40 million people, it's also important to note that we are the home of more than 100 federally recognized tribal nations. So when we talk about California, it's a very diverse population with a number of diverse ideas on how we move forward. California's climate target is to ensure that we meet carbon neutrality by 2045. And when we talk about carbon neutrality by 2045, the strategy is really to ensure that we electrify large swaths of the economy and make sure we underpin that with clean energy grid. Today, California has about 85 gigawatts of installed capacity, but moving forward, we need to triple the installed capacity and retire over 40 gigs or gigawatts of thermal generation. So as we move forward in California, one of the things we are going to begin thinking through is really the increase in demand. Over the last 20 years in California, the demand has been pretty flat, both in terms of the absolute value, but also per capita, because of our aggressive push for energy efficiency and conservation. But with the latest push on electrification, we expect our demand to grow 2.5 to 3 times over the next 25 years. So the first thing we want to focus on is ensuring that anything that we connect to the grid moving forward is a good citizen of the grid, making sure the demand that we add in buildings, the electrification of the buildings, the electrification of transportation really does enable us to have a demand curve that's suitable for renewable generation. And when we then talk about moving towards how do we build the necessary resources to meet the demand, we look at 4 broad principles. It's clean, reliable, affordable, and equitable. So I want to just hit high level on each one of those points. When we talk about clean energy resources, today California is about 60% zero carbon in its generation mix. Moving forward, we have targets to get to 90% by 2035, 95% by 2040, and 100% by 2045. So as we move towards that journey, we have to increase our build out, as I mentioned, with just clean energy resources, about 200 gigawatts. We added about 30 of that, and we still have plenty of ways to go. And one of the things we found out based on a bunch of the modeling we do, as many of the states here, as well as nations that are represented in this room do, we see the value in both technology and geographical diversity of those resources. So wind coming from different locations, solar coming from different locations, but also the diversity in terms of whether it's hydro resources, whether it's biomass, whether it's offshore wind, whether it's land-use wind. It's really important to have that diversity. The next challenge is really around reliability. As we move from today to 2045, keeping the system reliable as we integrate renewable energy is going to be very difficult. One of the things we continue to look in our analysis is that majority of the thermal fleet that we have today has to be retained just to keep the system reliable, from the terms of inertia and the ramping needs that you would require in evenings as the sun goes down. So one of the most important things as we think about reliability is also thinking about climate change and its impact on our planning. So one thing we observe in California over the last 4 years is that climate change is making it extremely difficult to fight climate change. Whether it's wildfires, whether it's drought, whether it's heat waves across the western United States, it's incredibly hard to keep the system reliable during those times. And so the planning has to evolve to not only plan for standard conditions, but for extreme weather conditions. And what do we do to keep the system reliable in those times? And the third point, just around affordability. Affordability is going to be very difficult, especially as we transition over the next 10 to 15 years, as most of the costs of both new technologies, but different programs to ensure equity and the climate resiliency go into the rates of the customers, it's going to become very difficult to keep the system affordable. So that's the challenge we are dealing with in California. How do we make sure the rates are affordable so people in California, the citizens of California, do not lose faith in the clean energy transition? So reliability and affordability are absolutely important in keeping the whole citizenry together in this forward movement. And finally, I want to touch on equitable. So as we mentioned, equitability in California context or the broader global context and the global south, how do we ensure that this clean energy transition, the carbon neutrality and the climate change vision that we in this room collectively have ensures that every citizen in the globe, every being in the globe has the same access to that clean energy transition and to the benefits of the clean energy transition. Majority, just taking the example of California, majority of our thermal power plants, for example, are in the regions where low-income people live. So as you think about retiring those thermal fleet, it's also an air quality implication. So how do you ensure that these benefits that we want for the globe are actually shared and democratized, as Mr. Venusar said, amongst everybody moving forward? And obviously, California cannot do this alone. We have an incredible support from our federal government with President Biden and his administration to make sure we have the necessary support to move California forward and the rest of the 49 states forward. In closing, I just want to offer a vision that California has been thinking about. One, climate change is such a monumental task that no one of us can solve it. And it has to be done collectively, and it wholeheartedly synchronizes with the vision of the G20, one Earth, one family, and one future. So ensuring that we're all collectively working in this incredible problem of our times and saving the Earth for the future generations. Specifically, as we think about the electricity transition, it's really important within our own context to think about what the solution looks like. For California, it is 4 chapters. As I mentioned, we're about 60% zero carbon today. But as we think about the chapters of California, the first chapter was fossil energy heavy. And we have passed that. And we're in we just are passing our chapter 2, which is making sure majority of our clean energy is actually coming from zero carbon resources. Given that we're at 60%, we are passing that chapter 2. Chapter 3 is going to be very, very difficult, where you are maximizing the clean energy, but you will continue to need fossil backup. As you move forward, how do you use the thermal assets we have that we don't want to run? We want to minimize the utility of them, but really have to use them to support inertia or support reliability. So that's the challenge we are currently in, and obviously we want to go into the 4th chapter where everything is clean energy. I also want to just call out one important notion of the demand side resources. A number of us on the dais today touched on that. Moving forward, as we talk about electrification, to just put it in perspective, California today has about 65 gigawatts of load, peak load. Going into 2032, just as a state, will be about 70 gigs of peak load. At the same time, in 2032, we expect to have about 7 million electric vehicles on the road. And those 7 million electric vehicles will have about 70 gigawatts of storage on the wheels. So how do you make sure you are maximizing the utility of the distributed resources in managing the grid, ensuring reliability, ensuring affordability, and ensuring access to all? With that promise, with that intent, we come here as a part of the broader global team and look forward to being a part of the conversation. And thank you so much for having us here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Those were some very compelling insights there. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a privilege to introduce to all of you His Excellency Jan Thesleff, the Ambassador of Sweden to India, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Nepal, and Maldives. And ladies and gentlemen, he was previously the ambassador to Egypt, the UAE, the KSA, Kuwait, and Bahrain. Immediately before that, he was ambassador to Libya and Tunisia between 2011 to 2014, and also the special representative for the Syrian crisis. He was serial ambassador to Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Oman, and Yemen from 2006 to 2011, as well as had very prestigious diplomatic postings in Brussels, Cairo, Tokyo, and Damascus. He's working for the EU Council of Ministers. He was working between 2003 to 2006. And before joining the Foreign Service, he has also been very active in the private business sector. It is a privilege indeed, sir, having you in our midst. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, as we welcome His Excellency Jan Theslop.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. My speech is slightly shorter than my CV, so delighted to be here with my distinguished co-panelists on the dais. Thank you very much for having me, and I'm also very delighted that on this event, really both government, private sector, and academia come together. And I was so, when I listened to my friend Envino from Hitachi Energy, and Hitachi Energy has been in this country for 75 years, and my country has had diplomatic relations with India for 75 years. That says something. It's a great honor to be here for the 10th edition of the India Smart Utility Week that focuses on issues that are very close to our hearts and to our competence: inclusive energy transition, digitalization of utilities, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. Smart. It's smart to be ahead of time. It's smart to stay relevant. It's smart to optimize processes and resources. And it's smart to minimize waste. Smart is somehow the process of learning. But we also have to be wise. And wise is maybe the product of experience. And what we want to bring, what we want to share, is to share our experiences, successes we've had, mistakes we made in order to move ahead. My country is working very closely together with India, and so do Swedish companies. I mentioned Hitachi Energy. We also have Atlas Copco. We have Alema with us here in the exhibition. Please visit them today. But we also work in different kinds of collaborative platforms. One is the India-Sweden Innovations Accelerator Program that we operate together with the Swedish Energy Agency. A major delegation was here until last week. They have introduced to India for collaborations about 70 Swedish clean tech companies, and that have created more than 250 projects, co-creation between India and Sweden. We have also launched the India-Sweden Green Transition Partnership that unites, just as on the dais, the government, business, academia, in the triple helix model that we are so proud of. We've had and held 30 workshops, within 70 energy-intensive sectors, and 70 collaborations have been initiated. And finally, as an example of what we are doing together with India, is the Indo-Swedish Green Hydrogen Cluster, with 20 collaborations launched so far between Indian and Swedish companies. Together, India and Sweden is pioneering the possible. Somehow the challenges is what give rise to opportunities. We know that. Abundance never do. 75 years of diplomatic relations. I would like to take this opportunity to extend my thanks to the government of India, to Indian authorities, to Indian collaborative partners, companies that have, together with us, been able to bring these issues further in a smart, bold, sustainable, and collective action that actually has the imprint of wisdom. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for inspiring us, for motivating us, and for giving hope for a greener and better future. Thank you very much.
And we thank you, sir, for encouraging us today. I'd request you to please stay with us as we need to now thank you with a small token of our gratitude and appreciation. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for His Excellency Jan Theslef, the Ambassador of Sweden to India, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Nepal, and Maldives. Thank you, Your Excellency, once again. With that, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege now to introduce and invite to the podium His Excellency Hervé Delphin, the Ambassador of European Union to India and Bhutan. And His Excellency Mr. Delphin presented his letters of credence to the Honorable President of India on 23rd of October 2023. With a career spanning over 30 years in the European Union, he is a specialist in foreign policy and international relations. And prior to his posting in India, he was heading the policy planning at the European Diplomatic Service, where he also served as Acting Director of Strategic Communications and Foresight. And from 2014 to 2017, he was also head of the unit in the European Commission in charge of the EU humanitarian and emergency response to major crises in the European neighborhood and the Middle East. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. And ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome him to the podium with a huge round of applause. His Excellency Hervé Delphin, Ambassador of European Union to India.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I hope you're not going low on energy. Actually, I feel really wired. It's a great pleasure for me to join the opening of this 10th edition of the India Smart Utility Week 2024. As there have been many speakers before me who are way more expert in the domain, I'll try to keep it short, simple, and maybe a bit strategic. As an ambassador, that's where maybe I can have some added value. But let me start by asking a question to the audience. Does anyone know about Matrix, the movie? Does everyone remember Matrix Reload? Basically, we are all sources of green and clean energy. In the dystopian version of Matrix, it turned into a way that we probably would like to see. But through this, I just want to really thank the high energy team that is putting together every year this Smart Utility Week, and really big thank. We've been partnering from the beginning. But maybe because of this, I think it might be my first remark out of four, why smart utilities matter. I mean, if economy were to be compared to a body, smart grids will fulfill the vital role of arteries. And they constitute this essential web of systems and structures that connect and distribute electricity, power from the sources of energy production to the endpoint consumption. So they are not just conveyor belts of electricity, they are conveyor belts of welfare, they are conveyor belts of growth. And let me say from the perspective, I would say, of an ambassador, that in these times of economic transformation, but also of geopolitical challenges, turbulences, the development of resilient and smart grids is more important than ever to ensure the sustainable developments of our countries, but also to sustain our partnerships and to shift to green energy. The second is we can only admire the impressive ambition and endeavor of India to modernize its power system and adapt it to its formidable growth, economic growth, industrial transformation, and its fast urbanization. So to feed it, India obviously needs energy. I was amazed when I read the figure that India alone will account for 25% of the world increase in energy demand in the coming years. India alone, 25% of the world. So that presents India with a multidimensional challenge, one of reliability, security, sustainability, affordability in energy supply. So the global energy transition can turn this challenge, massive challenge for India, into actually an opportunity by acting across the board, integrating the renewable energy in its energy mix, and it's what India is doing big scale. I mean, previous panelists said it, that you're going to overshoot your 50% target before 2030. By accelerating the decarbonization of your economy and industry, and I think this established framework for India's domestic carbon credit market is a good step, and I will say is a must. And this can be also incentivized further by the falling marginal cost of renewable energy. By accelerating energy efficiency, and I think the Energy Conservation Act is a very important piece of legislation in this country that will facilitate this. And indeed, last but not least, transmitting clean power at the lowest cost and with the lowest waste possible is an essential building block, and that's why we're here today. My third remark is indeed, as recalled by Chairman Pillay in his remarks, that EU has been an historical partner for India from the beginning in supporting the Smart Utility Forum and accompanying India's development on the smart grid policy. So we have facilitated the exchange of experience and expertise here in India, but also in Europe. And over years, we have densified our bilateral clean energy and climate partnership, with smart grids being a key component to it. So this week, Smart Utility Week, will come at a time where actually we are moving to the third phase of our work plan in our partnerships, with a focus on green hydrogen, on offshore wind, and regional energy connectivity, and I say a word on the latter one. So today we will host, you will see in the program, the 13th EU-India Smart Energy Workshop with 2 sessions. The first one on exploring the pathway for expanding the green hydrogen sector, and we will highlight the importance of standards and regulation in expanding EU-India collaboration. The fourth is on the regional energy connectivity. We'll discuss the way in which interconnections within regions strengthen the ability to respond to fluctuations in energy production and consumption more effectively. This has been quoted several times today, and I think for a reason. Prime Minister Modi proposed the One Sun, One World, One Grid initiative, but the vision of a single global grid is aspirational and can be realized by small steps close home. And as a clear win-win situation, regional integration of energy systems between India and its closest neighbor will surely bring similar efficiency gains, benefits for everyone. And this is why we see the regional energy connectivity in South Asia has been designed as a flagship of the European Global Gateway, this worldwide initiative on infrastructure and sustainable infrastructure. So we experienced that also on the European continent, and I think there is really a promising opportunities in the region. In conclusion, let me convey the determination of the EU and its member states to continue to be a leading force in the energy transition. We are overshooting our own targets in reducing the CO2, the GHG emissions, and we are also overshooting our targets in transition to renewable energies. So also that the Team Europe, so we are here, I was here, they were here, my colleagues from the member states, We are also committed to the financing of climate change. And again, here also we've been overshooting our target. The EU alone and its member states will provide 100 billion only last year, in support to transition measures. So India is a strategic partner for the EU in these areas of cooperation, clean energy and climate change. Opportunities are multiple, and our active participation in this Smart Utility Week is testament to our commitment to make this area continuously a focus for our global partnership EU-India. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for inspiring us. Thank you for your wonderful address. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the inaugural address from our chief guest. So it is my privilege to introduce Shri Ghanshyam Prasad to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of Central Electricity Authority, and he comes armed with experiences in the areas of power system operations at regional load dispatch centers, long-term generation planning, performance monitoring of all the power stations, monitoring of coal supplies to all the power plants, cross-border power trade with neighboring countries, distribution, etc. And he has also served for around 6 years in Haryana Electricity Regulatory Commission and has looked after various reforms in electricity in India. He has been a visitor to various countries, Canada, US, Japan, Turkey, Australia, Germany, Spain, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal on electricity sector assignments, and just to name a few, ladies and gentlemen, these countries. Let's welcome him to the podium with a big round of applause, our chief guest, Shri Ghanshyam Prasad, Chairman, Central Electricity Authority.
Good afternoon to everyone. His Excellencies on the dais, all the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. Most important to see the house full today. I think all the previous speakers had impressed upon one thing, that is energy transition, and how best we are able to address and how best we are able to see that it gets accelerated at a faster pace. I think the theme of the entire segment is in this direction. I think one of the speaker also mentioned about India's target as going to net zero by 2070. Let me place a few facts before we really misunderstand whether somebody goes by 2045 or 2050 and why India is going at 2070. I think many a times it gets misunderstood that probably we are slow in that. Probably not. One of the biggest reasons is the demand growth that is happening in India is much, much faster than any other countries in the world as of now. In fact, last year, there were certain months wherein the demand growth even surpassed 20% on a month-to-month basis. So this is the kind of growth that is happening, and if I have to catch up to this growth, then definitely I need a larger goal, larger aspirations and challenges. I think one of the speakers also mentioned about the huge challenge that India is going to face in terms of these elements. So again, going from the basic fundamentals of it, if I have to really meet the demand growth of around 6 to 7% as a moderate figure, but if I take slightly on a higher side of it, it can anywhere between 9 to 10%. And if I have to meet that kind of an aspirations, definitely the things are changing almost every day. Central Electricity Authority is the apex body, technical body, which is advising the government of India in these directions. We are facing a huge challenge in this. In fact, if you see the basic fundamentals which drives the entire thing is the planning aspect. And we have been involved in making perspective plan, national electricity plans, whether it is in terms of generation resources or in terms of transmission or in any other areas, whether it is in distribution, policy making, etc., etc. The challenge now comes is, earlier we were doing it every 5 years, and we were happy that, okay, this will meet the growth, and we will be able to meet that kind of a target, and we were fairly making that assessment right, and that is how we moved from a deficit situation, sometimes 10 years back, to the present adequate situation in terms of a supply side scenario. That is by accelerating the addition, capacity addition in terms of generation. But is that really right as of now? Is it going to be sufficient with the pace in which I am developing? It's a very big question mark when we start facing capacity crunch on certain parts of the day, certain time of the day. I mean, these are all happening because of the changes or the transition that is happening in the energy sector. And these transition and these challenges is coming mainly because we are adding solar, we are adding wind in a much faster manner than was expected probably earlier. And this has led to huge amount of challenge to the grid operator, to the DISCOMs. I am sure there are so many DISCOMs also sitting here. They also keep on facing the challenges every day. And particularly in a scenario where the profile of the solar and the profile of the wind is totally different from what we see across the world. If I take just the wind, for example, wind is available in India only for 5 months, not throughout the year. CUF of wind in India varies anywhere between 25% to say 32% or 35% at the most. If I have to meet with this, as compared to if you see other places, it could be around 50% or 60%, maybe for a longer period of time. Of course, we are trying to see that we harness the offshore wind, wherein the CUF could be slightly higher, but then it will take some time. But then if I have to meet the challenges of the non-solar hours and non-windy months, what are the options that is available to India? One has to be very, very carefully evaluate, try to see how I am going to really meet this challenge with the available resources that we have, and also keeping in mind how we are trying to take care of the energy transition as our goal. So the demand growth, the type of things that is happening, the kind of solutions that I have at present, but definitely there are ways and means that we are trying to address. And you must have seen a number of new products that has been launched in the renewable segments. And these products have helped India in trying to accelerate the pace of development of renewables. Good thing that has been is that we have good amount of good huge fleet of fossil fuel generations, which is now having flexing capabilities. And I think one of the gentlemen also mentioned about the flexibility. So flexibility in generation resources, flexibility in transmission, and flexibility in the demand management itself. All these aspects are really helping India as of now because of the large fleet that we have. And good thing that we have is the country is operating as a single grid. So, and the strong network that we have as of now, whether it is interstate or inter-regional grids or even trans-border interconnectivity that we have is very, very strong, and we don't have any congestion right now into the system, and that is how we have a single price discovery happening in the power market, which very clearly shows that there is no congestion. And this helps us in many ways. Particularly, this is the reason why we have not been able to see any kind of a curtailment in renewable segment, because even if there is a surplus in particular area, that surplus can easily be transferred to the areas where we have a deficiency. And this is happening because of the huge amount of transmission networks that we have added. Venu, I think, has mentioned about the transmission plan, which has been published by CA in a time frame of 2030, and we wanted to give a huge amount of visibility to the industry that, look, we are going to be in advance, and we will provide you connectivity as and when you are really ready to connect. It's almost like transmission ahead of generation. That's the kind of mantra we have gone ahead in the country. And we would like to see whether solar is going to come in 18 months or 24 months or maybe in 30 months. Similarly, it's the case with the winds. we have said that, okay, we'll provide you connectivity in an area, and we have identified, and the planning, etc., is happening based on the potential that kind of a scenario. We have extended this plan now up to 2031, 32 as well. The draft is already there, and probably most likely we'll be able to finalize that also very soon. But more important now is the dynamism. Because as I mentioned in the resources as well, that earlier we were very comfortable in planning for 5 years and happy, but now it has to be almost on an annual basis, and that's the kind of change that we have introduced in our system, that generation planning has to be updated every year. Transmission planning has to be updated every 6 months, and this all have started happening. All our transmission plan gets updated and revised every 6 months, uploaded onto the website, so that there is a huge amount of visibility is there with everybody, whether he is a transmission developer or a RE developer who is trying to hook up at a particular place, or for that matter, the DISCOMs and all the players in the segment. So we are trying to see that enough resources, keeping in view the energy transition, trying to see maximum amount of renewables gets added. What Mr. Jan, Additional Secretary, Ministry of New and Renewable, also mentioned, that we will not miss the target of 500 gigawatt. The plan is already there. The bidding trajectory is there. Transmission is already there, with all kinds of renewable purchase obligation, renewable generation obligations, etc., etc. All the philosophies, all the policies in place, I don't see any reason why we will not be able to achieve that kind of a trajectory. Maybe we might need slightly more, and that construct is coming mainly because if we really take the hydrogen, green hydrogen mission, which is also in the piping, and if we are able to meet that target of 10 million ton per annum of green hydrogen and green ammonia, that kind of a scenario, probably will be requiring maybe 100 or 125 gigawatt more renewables than probably what we have thought of. So this, as well as the other segments in the demand side, that probably might happen. And this can be in terms of data centers, or it can be in any other areas that probably we are trying to see. Something has been said about the distributed generations. Solar rooftops is one, and probably we are targeting that because we feel that its energy transition cannot be happening only with the utilities. It has to be, we have to involve all the consumers also in this. And if we have it as a mass movement, and each consumer also participating in the movement of energy transition with a full realization that why we are doing the energy transition, and that's a small initiative that has been taken by Government of India as Surya Ghar, and that is how we are trying to, this, of course, 10 million is an initial number, maybe it may be replicated as we go along, and probably it might take off of its own even without government support. So the realization that everybody, every stakeholder, whether it is generating companies, transmission companies, manufacturers, or the distribution companies, but along with that, until the actual consumer who really consumes electricity and is able to participate in the business of energy transition, probably the things will not happen as fast as we are thinking of. So that's the kind of thing that I thought I'll just try to mention. A few things, more initiatives that we are now trying to see in terms of the resource adequacy. Earlier, we were not very much focused on the resource adequacy, but now we have mandated that each and every DISCOMs will have to carry out the resource adequacy plan every year. And the mandate has been given to the load dispatch centers that they have to maintain the resource adequacy on the same day, running from the 1 day to 1 year. So that's kind of a responsibility that has been given. CA has been handholding all the states, all the load dispatch centers in trying to see that resource adequacy is maintained. So resource adequacy coupled with all other policy measures is going to see that the things keeps on happening. A mention was also made about the nuclear. Nuclear, definitely, right now we have a very small fleet of nuclear of roughly around 7.8 gigawatt, but we will be doubling it by 2030. So that's kind of initial projections. But as we go along, with more flexible kind of a policy coming in the nuclear side, probably we will be enhancing this capacity, nuclear capacity, to a further higher scales altogether. A mention was also made by His Excellencies regarding our connectivity to our neighboring countries. Right now, we are definitely connected with 4 countries, mainly with Bhutan, Nepal, Bangladesh, small connectivity with Myanmar, but we don't stop it here because of the advantages that the region as well as India is going to gain out of the concept of one sun, one world, one grid. And that is how we are looking at Sri Lanka, we are looking at Singapore, we are also looking towards Thailand, we are looking towards Oman, Saudi Arabia on all this. And let me tell you the small figures, and because of the diversity and because of the connectivity that we have within India itself, the diversity leads me to a savings of around 15 to 20,000 megawatt at any instant of time. So this is the kind of advantage of connectivity and interconnectivity that we have. That advantage is right now being faced fully by Bhutan, who is synchronously connected with us. Their grid stability, etc., is almost at par with India because of synchronous connection, what Bhutan has as of now. Nepal, they are not synchronously connected. Bangladesh is also asynchronously connected as of now, but definitely if you really connect this with the largest grid, their stability also becomes very, very high. And that is how, as a part of the regional development, we are into it, and we'll see that it happens. BIMSTEC Energy Center, I am the ED, Executive Director, first Executive Director of this BIMSTEC Energy Center, which is being set up at Bangalore. And we are targeting that under this umbrella, we try to see that the region develops and the optimization of resources happens in this particular region. So Southeast Asia, South Asia, and maybe even going towards the western side of the globe, probably we will be able to take advantage of all the kinds of diversities that we have. Diversities in terms of resources, optimal utilization of all these elements probably is going to help not only India, but all across the regions. One more thing that we have started taking up as a part of initiative of the energy transition is, can we focus, if not the entire India going for an energy neutral, can we focus on targeting some states as going green much earlier? So targeting about green states, targeting about greening the island, and probably in this first thing probably will be the greening the Andaman Nicobar Island we are thinking of by 29-30 or maybe 1 or 2 years earlier. We are planning even to connect Andaman Nicobar Island with subsea cables, and that probably is going to be one of the key, even though it is going to be a key challenge, but we think that we will be able to do this. At the end, let me say that as part of the apex body, technical apex body, Central Electricity Authority is going to complete 50 years on 14th of October. And this will mark with an event which we are going to organize, and we are targeting Vision 2047. That means trying to celebrate the 100th years of independence. And in that, I request and I welcome you from this podium today that please do participate, because that's going to be a visionary deliberations for 2 days. And I would definitely love to hear from all of you and try to gain suggestions, maybe pre-event and or even during the events. And with that note, I'll end my speech. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, for that very significant inaugural address. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have a congratulatory video message from Mr. Luciano Martini, the former chair, in fact, of International Smart Grid Action Network is gone. So let's take a look at that video message, please.
Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very glad to have this opportunity to speak during the opening session of this important conference and the 10th India Smart Utility Week. I'm Luciano Martini, I'm the chair of ISGAN. ISGAN is the International Smart Grid Action Network, that is at the same time an important TCP on smart grids of the International Energy Agency, and also a SEM work stream, Clean Energy Ministerial. We are working together with a coalition of more than 28 members, and we decided to really focus on the power transformation. India, of course, is one important member, a contracting party of ISGAN, so we receive a strong support from Indian delegates. I'm very glad that this important event, the Indian Smart Utility Week, is reaching this milestone, the 10th anniversary. And I would like to underline that I always try to attend this important event over the years. I was in New Delhi last year and the year before. Even during COVID, I was able to contribute online. I'm sorry this time I've not been able to be with you due to a conflict with other events, but I know that this event will be extremely important for all the delegates. My experience that because of the India Smart Grid Forum and also the Global Smart Energy Federation, they are gathering together a very nice team of national and international experts that are debating and discussing how to accelerate innovation in the power system, in the energy system at large. This is very much needed in these days where we have to fight climate change and where a lot of effort is made in making our power system fit for be fully decarbonized, integrating renewable energy, making smart mobility, and many other of the challenges that our power system is facing in these days. As ISGAN, we always agree that collaborating at international level is magic, is very important, is very much needed. In fact, only by working together, exchanging available knowledge, experience, and best practices, we can advance toward the main goal, that is to replicate innovative solutions across the world. Very important to underline that our participation to the India Smart Utility Week was very rewarding. It's really a pity not for me to be there with you, but I wish you a very successful event, and we as ISGAN remain fully available for in-depth discussion and collaboration opportunity in the way out. I wish you a very successful event, and I look forward to meeting you in person at the next opportunity. Thank you.
That was Mr. Luciano Martini, the Executive Committee Chair of the International Smart Grid Action Network, ISGAN. Thank you, sir, for your message. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, before the final word from Ms. Reena Suri, we have some mementos to be handed out to our esteemed dignitaries gracing the day. So I'd request Mr. Pillai to please do the honors. I request you to please present to... Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for His Excellency, Ambassador of European Union to India, Mr. Hervé Delphin. Thank you very much, sir. And we'd like to thank Mr. N. Venu, Managing Director and CEO, India and South Asia Region, Hitachi Energy. A big round of applause for him as well. Thank you very much, sir, for taking the time out. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my privilege to invite to the podium Ms. Reena Suri, the Executive Director of the India Smart Grid Forum. She joined in 2013 and currently is the Executive Director. She brings with her over 20 years of experience in the energy sector, and there's so much more to talk about her, ladies and gentlemen. I request her to please render the word of thanks. A big round of applause as we welcome to the podium Ms. Reena Suri, Executive Director, India Smart Grid Forum.
Thank you so much, Aishwarya, and a very good afternoon to Excellencies, the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, and all the eminent speakers from around the world, and the utility officials and participants for today, joining us today. So once again, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you to India Smart Utility Week. This marks the 10th edition of India Smart Utility Week. And yes, you know, this is the 10th edition. And this is our annual conference and exhibition. And it feels unreal, and it's like a dream come true that we have reached this landmark edition of the 10th version that we are doing here in Lalit. So the very inception of this event came about during discussions while either visiting or hearing about smart energy or utility events in other countries and continents. And it was during one such conversation with the then Secretary, Ministry of Power, that the idea of having our very own event in India was born. The vision was to create a platform right here in India, one that could bring international experts and showcase solutions to our doorstep. The goal was clear: to assist energy stakeholders in learning and leveraging all the expertise for the planning of the energy journey of India's energy transition that we are looking for. Today, as we gather, we are not simply kicking off another conference and exhibition. We are commemorating a decade of incredible accomplishments, groundbreaking innovations, and transformative ideas in the realm of smart utilities and sustainable energy. Over the course of last 10 years, ISUW has undergone a significant evolution, blossoming into a premier platform. It has become a space where global experts, energy leaders, policymakers, and innovators come together to converge, collaborate, and propel forward the vision of a smarter, cleaner, and more efficient future. This would not have been possible without the constant support of all of you. A big thank you to all our supporting ministries, government institutions, host and co-host utilities, and participating utilities, our partners, exhibitors, and the media. As we come close to this momentous occasion of the inaugural ceremony of the 10th edition of ISUW, I feel honored and privileged to get this opportunity to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks on behalf of India's Smart Grid Forum to each and every one of you who have graced us with your presence today. I would like to express our deepest gratitude to the dignitaries on the dais who have honored us with their very presence, insights, and wisdom. I would like to thank Mr. Luciano Martini for sending us his message and his warm greetings. Mr. Richard Schomburg for gracing us with his valuable contributions and being our mentor and guide from the very first edition of ICW. Mr. N. Venu for his inspiring address and for his continued support. Mr. Deepak Garg for joining us today and for your innovative ideas and insights that you bring to the forum. Mr. Sandeep Zanzaria, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your valuable perspective on the future of smart grids. Mr. Sivagunda for joining us here today along with a high-level delegation from California and for your thought-provoking remarks on sustainability and energy transition. His Excellency Philipp Ackermann, Ambassador from Germany, we thank him for his support and joining us. Also, His Excellency Han Telsef, Ambassador for Sweden, we really thankful for his presence and his support and partnership with India. His Excellency Hav Delfin, Ambassador of European Union to India, for his continued support and partnership with India as well as India Smart Grid Forum in the Smart Grid workshops that we have been doing. And Mr. Sudeep Jain, Additional Secretary MNRE, for joining us today and for his visionary outlook on renewable energy advancements. And last but not the least, to our chief guest, a big thank you to you, sir, for joining us, Ghanshyam Prasad ji, and sharing your valuable contributions to the energy sector. I once again extend my heartfelt gratitude for your presence here, and we are truly grateful to all our dignitaries for opening keynotes. It indeed was inspiring to listen from all of you and a great learning experience for all of us. Your addresses have not only honored us, but have also set the stage for a week brimming with inspiration and pioneering ideas. Over the course of this week-long event, we will delve into discussions, engaging debates, and enlightening dialogues, exploring latest trends, emerging technologies, and best practices in the realms of smart energy and mobility. From the thought-provoking panel discussions to interactive workshops and captivative exhibition that is planned as part of India Smart Utility Week 2024, we promise to bring to be a melting point of ideas and innovations at the event. I urge each one of you to seize this invaluable opportunity, engage with our esteemed speakers and experts who have joined us, and connect with our fellow attendees and immerse in yourself in the wealth of knowledge and expertise surrounding us. Once again, a very warm welcome to the 10th edition of ISUW, and I wish you all a fruitful, enlightening, and memorable experience ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for that wonderful and heartening word of thanks. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I now take the privilege of announcing the release of the ISGF white paper on electrification of school buses. Can we have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? This is also on our website, ladies and gentlemen, and can be accessed easily. And with that, I'm now going to request Mr. Pillai to please do the honors and thank our esteemed dignitaries gracing the day, starting with our chief guest, Shri Ghanshyam Prasad, Chairman, Central Electricity Authority. Let's have a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. So may I request you to thank Mr. Siva Gunda, Commissioner and Vice Chair, California Energy Commission. Can we please have a round of applause? Can we have a round of applause for Mr. Sandeep Zanzaria, MD and CEO, GE&T India Limited. Thank you for the applause, ladies and gentlemen. May I invite Mr. Deepak Garg, Founder, Chairman and CEO, Smart Energy Water. And can we accompany that thank you with an applause? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, Mr. Richard Schomburg, IEC Ambassador on Smart Energy. And a round of applause for Mr. Richard Schomburg. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we now have a group photograph with all the dignitaries. I'd like to invite Mr. Abel Tella, Director General, Association of Power Utilities of Africa, Mr. Sairo Bakuzi, President of Latin American Smart Grid Forum, Mr. Eddie Vidiono. May I invite you to please join the dignitaries for the picture, Ms. Alice Reynolds, Mr. Andrew McAllister, Mr. V.K. Kanjlia, Treasurer of ISGF, Mr. P. Umar Shankar, former Secretary, Ministry of Power, Mr. V. Subramanian, former Secretary, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. So we have joining us Mr. Eddie Vidiono, who is the Chairman of PJCI, the Smart Grid Forum in Indonesia, and former President of PTPLN Indonesia. Ms. Alice Reynolds is actually the President of California Public Utilities Commission, and Mr. Andrew McAllister, Commissioner of California Energy Commission. I invite you to please join us in this very happy group photograph at the inaugural ceremony of the India Smart Utility Week 2024, the 10th anniversary edition, ladies and gentlemen.